In 641 AD, Tang Zhenguan was 15 years old. It's late autumn, the autumn wind is rustling, and today's style is bigger than that. Li San, who was only 40 to 80 years old, was lying on the bed sickly, withered like a skinny figure, with sunken eyes. Hunger, my life is not long, after I die, you will lead the children to live a good life. After Li San said, he closed his eyes, 2 lines of clear tears streaming down the corners of his eyes. After so many years in the Tang dynasty, it will eventually turn into dust. The last thought flashed through his mind, and Li San's consciousness completely dissipated. Husband! Husband! Father! Father! In front of the bed, the mother and son saw Li San closing their eyes, and their life was gone, and they suddenly sat on the side of the bed in pain. Grown-ups! Outside Li San's room, there were countless figures standing there, men, women and children, all knelt down and wept bitterly. On that day, all the people in Luoshui County came to express their condolences. On the 7th day, the day when Li San was out of funeral, the Shili Long Street in Luoshui County was full of people. No one cries bitterly, wears sackcloth and filial piety. Li San, a strange generation of Luoshui County, died at the age of 48, and eventually drove west because of an incurable disease. The people of Luoshui County have white strips hanging on the front of each house to pay homage to Li San. 1 month after Li San died, countless people from Luoshui County came to worship, most of them were Li San's students. Among them, there are many officials and nobles. In the same month, Emperor Li Shimin was heartbroken when he learned that Li San had died of an illusion, and issued the first imperial edict that belonged to Li San. Because Li San was full of legends throughout his life, he taught countless disciples, but he refused to enter the DPRK and resisted the decree countless times. This time, Li Shimin's will was so that Li San could not refuse. The Emperor Fengtian carried on. The Emperor said, Mr. Li San has made countless good things in his life, helping me manage the floods of the Luoshui and the Yellow River, transforming fertile fields, and innovating equipment. The work is in the present and will benefit the future. Mr. S. disciples have more than 3,000, all of whom are the pillars of the country. My husband's life is two-leaved breeze, and today I will be saddened by the death of cranes and immortals. Mr. is the reincarnation of a and man. It is the fortune of my Datang and the fortune of my Li Shimin. I canonized Mr. Li San as a meritorious candidate in Luoshui County, a first-grade official residence. Mr. Li San has no virtue in his life, and I enlighten him to go to heaven, and appoint Mr. Li San as the of Luoshui River, and keep the people of Luoshui safe forever. This is my honor. After Li Shimin's imperial decree arrived, a small temple was built outside Luoshui County. Luoshui Temple. Enshrined a statue exactly like Li San's life. Since then, time has passed like a white horse, and generations of people have grown up. The entrance of the Luoshui Temple is covered with evergreen pine trees and graceful willow trees. And this river temple has become a famous temple in Luoshui County. Luoshui County has become bigger and bigger as the times change. The Hessian Temple, staying quietly on the shore of Luoshui, experienced countless spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Daxia calendar, the 15th day of the first lunar month of the Xin year, February 26, 0221 in the new calendar. Luoshui City, this is the name of Luoshui County's later generations. Anping District, located in a new urban area in the northeast of Luoshui City. The mighty Luoshui River traverses through Anping District. The Luoshui River Temple is located in a secluded garden in Anping District. Today, the Luoshui River Temple is full of people and it is very lively. It is the 15th of the first lunar month, which is the annual temple fair. Because the 15th of the first lunar month is also the birthday of the river god, countless people have already prepared tributes and sacrificial utensils to come to the Luoshui Temple. According to legend, Luoshui has no floods for thousands of years, all thanks to the blessing of the river god. To rely on the mountains to eat the mountains and the water to drink the water, the people along the Luo River have taken worshipping the river as a big day since ancient times. This habit has spread to this day. In the river temple, a statue of Li San, the of meritorious Luoshui River, is erected in the middle of the main hall. The slightly old color of the idol and the small secret lines represent the traces of the years. It has been more than 70 years since the most recent renovation of the Hessian temple, and people remember that it was not long after the founding of the Great Xia state at that time. The river temple on the shore of Luoshui was baptized by war and was restored by the best local craftsmen. Master River God is here, bless my wife and children healthy and successful in business. A middle-aged man knelt on the futon and prayed piously. He was taken by his ancestors to worship the river god since he was a child, and it has been 48 consecutive years. After praying, the middle-aged man carefully wrapped some incense ash and put it in his purse as a talisman. Holding tight, a grey-haired old man walked in with two young men. God of the river, bless my grandson. After the old man finished praying, he looked at the two young people behind him and said, Dashan Xiao Shan, don't hurry up. Oh! I know Grandpa. The young man named Dashan is extremely fat, while Shan is extremely thin. The old man watched the two kneel down and kowtow, and immediately took out the tribute and placed it on the altar table respectfully. After Dashan struck hard for 3 beeps, he looked at his younger brother, Brother, do you think Lord River God will bless me this year? It turned out that Dashan Su's wish was to meet the other half this year. Big brother. I think it is illogical for you to say this as an exorcist. Are you a woman who works hard to make money? Xiao Shan glanced at Dashan Tokaudeo. Actually, I don't want to meet Peach Blossom, I just want Grandpa River God to be able to drive away evil spirits in this world. Dashan looked at the handsome river statue and muttered. As exorcists, they know that there are no so-called gods in this world, only evil spirits. Well. Who is talking? Li San opened his eyes leisurely in the darkness. He heard the prayers of countless people, and at the same time a very strong fragrance of incense spread all over his body. The next second, the darkness dissipated, and Li San saw the men and women kneeling under him. Ding! Congratulations to the host, activate the clocking system, the system is starting, 1%, 10% at the same time, countless memories flooded into Li San's mind. In the blink of an eye, a mysterious panel appeared in Li San's consciousness. Host, Li San. Position, Luoshui River God. Ability, innate consummation and golden body. It turns out I didn't get the system until 1,000 years after my death. Looking at the system panel, Li San was a little bit dumbfounded. As a modern person at the beginning, traveling back to the Tang dynasty, there are countless good fortunes in his life, and he didn't get a system until he died. It is now the Xingkou year of the Great Xia Li 0221 AD, and Li San, who became the of the river, is very clear. What makes Li San wonder is that he is in a parallel world or an unknown world. Ding! The host has not clocked in today, does the host have clocked in? Just as Li San was thinking about it, a mechanical voice rang in Li San's mind. I had traveled back to the Tang dynasty on Earth, and I had never heard any evil spirits in my entire life. The only time was when His Majesty the Emperor had nightmares every night, and the nightmare disappeared after the portraits of Qin Kaiang and Yu Qigong were pasted at the door. In the 13th year of Zhengguan, Qin Kaiang died of illness. Emperor Li Shimin prayed to heaven and made the 2 eternal gate gods. It is used to protect the people of the world at night from being disturbed by ghosts and evils. It was not until the 15th year of Zhengguan that Li San died. In Li San's life, he has never heard of a ghost in the Ming dynasty making a mess, otherwise the world will be in chaos. The so-called human beings are humane, gods have divine ways, and ghosts naturally have ghost ways. People and ghosts have different paths. This is a legend spread in China. As for why this parallel world would develop into such a shape in later generations, Li San was puzzled. At this moment, a sluggish man took his wife across Li San, and the special fragrance suddenly made the man's expression ruddy. Li San stopped thinking, he looked at the couple. There was a trace of blood on the top of the man's head, and a touch of green on the top of the woman's head. In an instant, Li San understood. Through his eyes, he knew why this man was suffering from blood and light. It must be that this woman's red apricot has been out of the wall for a long time, and the man himself is suffering from a disease. Men and women who are struggling to see this man are seriously ill. Haha. The later version of Wu Dalan. Li San sighed silently. Forget it, for the sake of your 3 lives being a good person, this seat saves you from a disaster. By the way, I will give you a good luck to compensate you. With a move of Li San's finger, a faint golden light penetrated the man's Tianling Gai. The man who was praying suddenly felt refreshed, and he looked at his physical state in shock. Grandpa River God appeared. The man thought of this possibility for the first time. Alan, my illness is cured. Grandpa River God manifested. The man excitedly took his wife's hand, extremely happy. Immediately afterwards, the man knocked his head at the river god statue 3 times with an extremely pious attitude, and at the same time a faint golden light flew from the top of his head back into Li San's body. Ah! The young wife didn't have the excitement she imagined, but her heart sank to the bottom. Glancing at the statue of the river in awe, the woman secretly was shocked by the stupid things she had done. Those who grew up eating the water of the Luo River listened to the legend of the river as a child, and had an instinctive awe of the river god. This is an ideological tradition handed down from generation to generation. It seems that I have to do something for the common people who believe in me. Li San felt the merits entering his body and thought to himself. At the same time, Li San also understood that it was the thousands of years of worship made by generations of people that allowed him to cultivate into a golden body. Now that he has been resurrected, he must fulfill his obligations to protect the peace of the people. Nowadays, the world is chaotic, and demons are at work. If you are indifferent to the common people, your golden body will gradually dissipate. When no one believes, it is the time when one's life and death disappear. For Li San, who had already died once, he was not a selfish person. When he traveled back to the Tang dynasty, he made a contribution as a modern Chinese in order to benefit the people. Heaven revolves, 1 drink and 1 peck. If you were eager to have fun in the first place, you would not have the golden body you have today. Immediately, Li San stepped forward and watched the long queue outside the hall. The eyes of Shakyamuni were released in Li San's eyes, and Li San could clearly see everyone's breath. Some people's luck is flourishing, some people's luck is declining, some are unpredictable, some are unkind. The world is full of attitudes, and Li San's eyes can be gathered at this moment. Li San, who became the of the river, was out of the realm of mortals. Even if he is a bad person, he still burns incense to pay tribute to himself with fear of the gods. In Li San's eyes, the human beings present are neither absolutely good nor absolutely bad. The standard for judging good or bad lies in the great deeds, it is by no means a temporary good or bad. After thinking about it, Li San had already come outside the Hessian temple. During the temple fair, the river god temple was very lively, with numerous vendors crowded on both sides of the road. Some sell incense, some snacks, and some accessories. In front of a vendor selling small accessories, a young mother was browsing the accessories on the stall. There are jade pendants, guanyin, Buddha, and all kinds of Bodhi beads. Just as Li San passed by this vendor, a baby under 1 year old held up his pink hand and waved to Li San. Hey! Can you see me? Li San felt heartily and looked at the baby. Seeing Li San's gaze, the baby was happier and turned over and leaned on the stroller. Li San smiled slightly. Human beings are born with heavenly eyes, but as they grow, their eyes will close when they come into contact with the red dust. The sky eye is located at the Tianling bone halogen gate, and it will gradually harden in about 18 months, thus closing the sky eye. Good. Li San was full of emotion when he saw the baby. This is the future of mankind, and it can only be passed on for so long by reproducing from generation to generation. After taking a look at the baby, Li San continued to walk forward. He was going to see what changes had taken place in Luoshui now. In the Tang dynasty, he grew up on the banks of the Luoshui River, and he can't remember clearly in front of the river temple. The towering skyscrapers farther away also indicate that he is now in a new era. Just after Li San left, the baby seemed extremely anxious, as if to stop Li San. Catch the thief! Suddenly, a man in black sportswear ran over quickly, and a woman behind him was chasing and shouting. Bang! In desperation, the thief passed the stroller, kicked the stroller to the ground, and quickly sank into the willow forest next to him. Li San also spotted the baby who was about to fall to the ground, and a golden light popped out of his fingers. The baby carriage that was about to fall to the ground stood up strangely and recovered as before. The baby who was babbling did not seem to suffer any injuries, and kept leaning against the stroller. Not good. At a place 50 meters away from the stroller, a girl in jeans and a white waistcoat exclaimed. She had just discovered the baby carriage that was about to be knocked down, and rushed out with one stride, but just after a few steps, she saw a strange scene. At the same time, the recording function in her mobile phone was still turned on, and she took the picture just now. Wang Shui was filming a section of the temple fair, and suddenly saw the baby carriage that had been knocked over, but the baby carriage was strangely restored to its original state when it was about to fall to the ground. The screams of catching the thief and Wang Shui's yelling attracted the attention of countless people, who looked over. Suddenly the crowd reacted, and several young men immediately rushed towards the willow forest. The staff in the river temple in the distance also noticed the abnormality, and came one after another. The young mother, who was browsing the jewelry vendor, turned her head and looked at the horrified Wang Shui behind her. Sister, what happened? The young mother looked at Wang Shui and then at her baby who was in the stroller, suspiciously. There were a lot of people at the temple fair. She had just heard the sound of catching the thief, and then she heard Wang Shui's yelling from behind. And Wang Shui's expression seemed abnormal. Hello. I just yelled when I saw your baby about to fall to the ground. Wang Shui patted the towering twin peaks, and said in shock. Hey? Isn't my baby good? The young mother glanced at her baby again, but the little guy kept staring at one place and babbling. This situation makes the young mother confused. Really? Your baby is really going to fall, I have evidence here. Wang Shui immediately took her mobile phone from the selfie stick. Soon, the screen replayed, and the young mother saw the incredible scene just now again. Oh! My baby! You are so lucky! The young mother saw this weird picture, and her whole body was not well, so she immediately squatted down to hold the baby and said. At this time, the baby's eyes turned, as if staring at a moving object. The baby kept gesticulating towards a place. Wang Shui and the young mother also noticed the baby's changes. Following the baby's eyes, there were two old willow trees. But there is nothing in the middle of the willow tree, there is nothing. After a while, the person who caught the thief came back, and the man in black sportswear was escorted to the venue by several staff members. You bastard! If God had eyes, my baby would have been killed by you. When the young mother saw the culprit, she immediately stepped forward and scolded. It was spring, and the ground was still very hard. If the baby had just fallen on the bluestone slab, something would have happened. Okay, okay. We will send him back to the police station. Nyo, this is your lost bag. A staff member held the bag in his hand and handed it to a woman in a long skirt. Thank you. After receiving the bag, the woman looked at Wang Shui. What just happened to you? This time, aroused the interest of everyone. Therefore, Wang Shui showed everyone the short video she had taken. What? How is this possible? The car must have a good focus and recovered by itself. This is definitely not a movie, this is true. Could it be that the river master appeared? After everyone saw the video on Wang Shui's phone, they all talked about it. Some people said it was a scientific phenomenon because of the focus. Some people say that this is the manifestation of Grandpa River God, who saved the baby. Madam, please stop showing it to others. There are so many people here, I'm afraid it will cause accidents. The staff member who had just been involved in catching the thief stepped forward and looked at Wang Shui and reminded in a low voice. There were too many people at the temple fair, and the commotion here has attracted the attention of the distant crowd. Wang Shui looked at the people who kept coming around and nodded to the staff. Sister, you should leave with your baby. Wang Shui looked at the young mother beside her. Yeah. Then I'm leaving, thank you. The young mother nodded to Wang Shui and the staff, and left with the stroller. If the discussion continues, this mother and son will probably be asked endlessly. Wang Shui also put away the selfie stick and walked away quietly. It's just that as a new era of advanced information, people who have just watched Wang Shui's video have already filmed the news here and posted them to major media platforms. Everyone was discussing with gusto what was going on. That's not right. What is he looking at? After Wang Shui left, he glanced suspiciously around the temple fair. But after watching for a long time, she didn't find anything interesting to the baby. Forget it, this video will definitely get a lot of clicks, go back and trim it and upload it to a certain sound. Wang Shui watched for a long time, but couldn't see why. After flipping the phone, she thought about going back tonight and posting the video of today's temple fair to a short audio and video platform. Bored, Wang Shui was about to leave the river temple. Wow! Suddenly, the grandson held in the arms of the old couple looked at a clearing behind Wang Shui and cried. Hey! Don't cry! Don't cry! Upon seeing this, the grandma immediately shook the grandson in her arms, trying to coax the child. But I couldn't coax it anymore. The baby's eyes were really round, and he kept crying when he pointed his finger at the place behind Wang Shui. Suddenly, the baby started to laugh as if grabbing something. This scene caused Wang Shuifa to stand up, and she looked back. Isn't she behind the two old willow trees? There is nothing there, why suddenly this baby laughed again? He seems to be holding something in his hand. Wang Shui swallowed and continued to look back. There were only two willow trees and nothing at all. This strange scene made Wang Shui's horror. The baby was either looking at her or staring at the willow tree behind him. Suddenly, Wang Shui combined with the scene of the baby stroller just now, and remembered a sentence from her grandmother when she was a child. Children will see dirty things, if you see dirty things, don't be afraid. The more I think about it, the more wrong. Wang Shui's instinct tells her that today is absolutely abnormal. The two babies before and after are so abnormal, there must be something nearby that she can't see. But Wang Shui turned her head countless times and couldn't see what was nearby. What's more, there are so many people in broad daylight. Li San's hung in a blue robe stood in front of the old couple, looking at the baby who was smiling at him. Good person in the fifth world, rare. There were several golden lights flashing on the baby's head. In the name of the river god, I wish you peace and health in this world, free from illness and disaster. As he spoke, Li San's finger touched the baby's eyebrows. This baby is also a citizen of Luoshui, and a good person who believes in himself. For this, Li San also intends to reward him. Li San, a body of innate merit, can use the power of merit to make sentient beings. After being blessed by Li San, the baby slowly closed his eyes, and the golden light on his head became a bit rich. With the power of the river god's merit as protection, he will surely be safe and worry-free throughout his life. The temple fair on the 15th day of the first lunar month soon came to an end, and the people who came to the temple fair also went home. On the garden road in front of the river temple, small vendors are packing up their merchandise. It seems that today's world is indeed chaotic. Li San muttered, looking at the Luoshui river in the sunset. Today, he used the abilities attached to his innate merits to enlighten many people. As long as they are good people who sincerely worship the river god, Li San has more or less fulfilled part of their wishes. As for the temporary cuddlers, Li San ignored them. It's time to go back. Looking at the deserted river temple, Li Sanyi took a step and disappeared on the shore of Luoshui. Swipe. I saw Li San's figure suddenly appear in the main hall, turning into a golden light and disappearing into the statue. In a dark space, Li San silently closed his eyes to consume the power of merit he gained today. The magical power of Daipin Exorcism Ju can be advanced, and currently there are only 5 heavens. The power of merit is needed to practice Daipin Exorcism Ju and merit Golden Body. And when Li San is enshrined by others, he can also gain some of the power of merit. When inciting others and receiving the cause and effect of others, the power of merit can also be obtained. With the double acquisition of the aura, Li San's power of merit will be continuously acquired. Now Li San has just awakened, and there is no suitable place to live, and he can only live in the Dhamma. After all, this image has been established on the shore of Luoshui for thousands of years. In the middle of the night, a village in the city 10 kilometers away from the Luoshui temple. Baby, I drank a little bit today, wait a minute. A man walked on the street with a woman with heavy makeup in his arms. The man said as he walked, obviously a little slurred. Brother Li, let's go, hurry up, you're all drinking like this, okay, you. The woman with heavy makeup supported the man and walked step by step. I can't. I'm 28 years old, and I'm known as a humanoid pile driver. The man said. Suddenly a feeling of vomiting came to his heart. Oh, I saw the man covering his mouth and immediately ran into the green belt next to him. Yet. Slow down. Seeing that the man was about to vomit again, the woman ran forward to take care of her. You. Drink less if you can't drink it. I didn't get drunk and drank you like a bear. The woman with heavy makeup slapped the man on the back while complaining. The two of them have known each other online for a long time, and today is the first time they met. The so-called drywood and raging fire, the men and women drank in a tavern in Anping district after eating, and they drank like this after a meal. Oh, the man felt better after several mouthfuls of retching. Thank you, baby. As soon as the man got up, he was so drunk that he felt something sticky under his feet. Come on, I always feel a little gloomy. The woman with heavy makeup looked around the empty surroundings, and took the man's arm to leave the green belt. There are no people on the road at this time, and there are very few pedestrians in the village at 2 o'clock in the middle of the night. How do I feel? There is something under my feet. The man shook his head and looked down. Where is there anything? You didn't vomit anything just now. The woman muttered dissatisfiedly, and looked down subconsciously. At this glance, the two of them were so scared that their hair stood upside down, and they saw that the grass was covered with black slimy hair, and a human face in the middle of the hair was looking at them. A face that was extremely white in the dark night, with eyes permeating like black holes, and black air wafted out of it. At this time, the human face was spitting out a scarlet tongue swaying in front of the man's feet. Ah! The men and women screamed at the same time. The man was completely drunk, grabbing the woman's hand and fleeing. But in the next second, a sudden change occurred. The slimy hair suddenly rose up into the sky like a sharp sword. Puff puff puff. It seemed that countless sturdy steel needles immediately pierced the pair of men and women. Tick. Tick. Countless scarlet blood holes appeared on the two of them, as if a faucet, blood was constantly flowing down the blood hole. Severe pain came, and the man and the woman watched their bodies being pierced into a sieve, their pupils were dilated, and they lost consciousness. During this period, it took less than a second from the discovery of the head-swallowing ghost to death. The two of them were like barbecues, with countless pin-like hairs pierced through them, and their bodies remained standing. Kika kika. The white face stood up under the support of the rest of the hair, opened his blood basin and covered the man's head with a big mouth. Thorn. As if peeling an orange, the man's face, scalp and hair were torn off by the swallowing ghost, turning into a blood-colored head. The facial features disappeared, only the gurgling blood kept shed. Next, the woman was also covered by the head-swallowing ghost, and the whole scalp was stripped off in the same way. Ang! The swallowing ghost made a strange sound after eating the scalp of the two. Immediately after that, a few strands of new hair grew out of those countless hairs. Bang! Bang! After the head-swallowing ghost finished all this, he drew out the countless hairs inserted in the two bodies. The two corpses lay on the lawn one after another, with blood covering the lawn. As if killing the two people just now made Tuntagui very happy, that white face instantly changed into a woman's appearance, and then into a man's appearance. And these two faces are the faces of the two who just died. With his hair as his feet, the swallowing ghost walked forward, his white face constantly changing in different appearances. Immediately afterwards, the swallowing ghost's figure disappeared. Early the next morning, the morning exercisers found two dead bodies with extremely tragic appearance. In less than 5 minutes, several police cars arrived at the scene and inserted the warning belt around. Residents of the village in the city in the distance gathered around, discussing something. Several forensic doctors and criminal police from the special investigation team were collecting evidence at the scene of the crime. Dashan and Xiao Shan drove past at this time, and suddenly saw the crowd of onlookers. The two looked at each other and immediately had an idea. Dead. Dashan frowned as he looked at the crowd of onlookers in the distance. Even the forensic doctor and criminal police have arrived. It must be a murder. Brother. Let's go and see. Xiao Shan immediately stopped the car on the side of the road. Go and see what's going on. Dashan didn't hesitate and got off the car immediately. Wow! Those two bodies are so miserable, their faces are gone. You see that the body is like a sieve, the blood is drained, right? I vomited up all the fried dough sticks in the morning, this technique is too cruel. Before the two came to the front, they heard the comments from the onlookers. When the brothers Dash and Xiao Shan heard these words, their expressions changed drastically. What the evil spirit did. These words appeared in the hearts of the two brothers at the same time. Dash and Shan glanced at each other and immediately walked away from the crowd. This comrade, you are not allowed to enter the cordon. A small policeman immediately reminded him that Dash and Xiao Shan was about to cross the cordon. Why are the ordinary people watching the game so bold now? What if the scene is destroyed? But in the next second, the policeman immediately became extremely low. Please, please. Please, two please. Because he saw two 1-star platinum medals on the chest of Dash and Shan. This policeman remembers that the leader ordered that people with platinum and gold medals belong to special departments, and they must cooperate fully when encountering things. Dash and Xiao Shan looked at the little policeman whose attitude had changed drastically. He glanced at the platinum badge on his chest. Without saying anything, he walked forward. The 1-star platinum medal represents the prefecture level 1-star ghost exorcist. The highest is Samsung. Samsung is the pinnacle of the same level and also represents a remarkable record. It's not that you can get a star medal if you reach the strength, you must have a recognized record to get the corresponding medal. This is the glory of being an exorcist and a proof of status. Today's exorcist is directly under the management of the state, is the most noble profession, but also the most dangerous profession. Team Zhang. Has the identity of the deceased been confirmed? Dashan was a burly figure. After walking a few steps forward, he saw a middle-aged man with a sad face. Oh! It turned out to be a mountain and a hill. You are here just right. Look at this. When the middle-aged man saw the mountain, he immediately browse and pulls the mountain over. I saw a man and a woman lying behind the pine trees, their bodies already resembling a hornet's nest, and the corpses looked pale due to excessive blood loss. The most terrifying thing is that head, both of them are emballed with nothing. One night passed, and the blood had turned black. Looking at the wounds on the two of them, De Shan's pupil shrank, and Xiao Shan's brows wrinkled deeply. The identity of the deceased has been confirmed. The man's name is Li Gang and his home is not far from Mingyang community. The woman is not from the city. Through technical surveys, the information on their mobile phones shows that they are a pair of lovers, alas. The detective captain sighed and said the identity of the two. Xiao Shan, that thing did it. Dashan looked at the neat wound and said while looking at his younger brother Xiao Shan. Brother. Do you have to report first? Xiao Shan made a gesture and said. Team Zhang, you should withdraw first, let us investigate the murderer's matter. Dashan said, he looked at the captain on the side. Okay. Then I will withdraw first. The detective captain Zheng Xiao couldn't start. Quick! Clean up the scene. By the way, the people are dismissed. Team Zhang expertly directed the people under him to move quickly. After a while, several police cars and ambulances left with their sirens flashing, and the crowd of onlookers gradually disappeared. Dashan Xiao Shan returned to the car. Hey! The prefecture-level ghost exorcist number 1233 calls the headquarters. I saw Dashan press on the badge on his chest, and a faint light suddenly appeared. In just a second, a voice came from Dashan's headset. This is the headquarters of Ghost Destroying in Luoshui City, please tell me 1233. When Dashan heard this voice, he immediately said, evil ghosts were found in Anping District, Luoshui City. The coordinates are 3 kilometers from Binhe Road. Okay, it has been recorded, the headquarters will send someone to deal with it. Just before this voice was finished, Dashan immediately said, according to the rules, I have the right to catch the evil spirits I found, right? The voice halted immediately, yes, Ghost Exorcist number 1233, please be careful. Before the sound was over, Dashan clicked the badge on his chest again. A flash of light flashed on the badge, and Dashan's fingerprint was instantly recognized, and the call was hung up. It's troublesome, I have to report every time. Dashan mumbled dissatisfiedly after hanging up the phone. Then Dashan looked at the hill. Xiao Shan, let's leave immediately to investigate what this evil spirit is. Brother. I know you are eager to kill ghosts, but we still have to pay attention to our own personal safety. Xiao Shan sat in the cab and glanced at his eldest brother reminded. Shan, I know, didn't we have killed a lot of ghosts? Da Shan turned his head and leaked a row of white teeth. Brother. It's not that I said you are too hard, our exorcist can kill ghosts, but we also count as one day a day. You have to charge forward in everything, and pay attention to your safety. Last time it was extremely dangerous. Didn't you swear to avenge your parents? You have to listen to me in this action. Xiao Shan recalled the Heer-Teeters he killed last time, and was afraid after a while. That time the ghost was extremely powerful, if it weren't for reinforcements to arrive in time, Dashan might have already died with the Heer-Teeting ghost. Dashan's real name is Huo Yun, and he is a classmate of Xiaoshan's elementary school. The two were cousins of a common ancestor but not a father, but Dashan's parents died at the hands of ghosts when they went out. Dashan was only 5 years old. Since then, Dashan was adopted by Xiaoshan's parents, and the mountain was named Huo Bin. The nicknames of the two were also taken when they were very young. They were born with one fat and one thin. Brother. Can you not talk about me? Every time you want to perform a task, you just talk about me like this. Dashan knew that Xiao Shan was doing his own good, and said angrily. I'm just a brother like you. If you die, don't I have a place to talk? While talking, the hill had already started the car and was walking on the road. My brother, how could I die so easily? I am the future Sky Level 3-star Ghost Exorcist, and there are tens of thousands of people waiting for me to save. A fiery light flashed in Dashan's eyes, full of infinite fighting spirit. Xiao Shan chuckled, I know, brother, we are all future 3-star diamond exorcists. The two drove fast on the road, looking for a place where ghosts might be hidden. After the murder occurred, Team Zhang received instructions from the higher authorities the first time it returned to the criminal police team. Numerous police forces in Anping district were dispatched, and all streets in Anping district were under martial law. Especially along Binhe Road, a large number of police forces have been deployed. Citizens in Anping district were notified at the first time, and they were told that an extremely dangerous murderer was hiding in Anping district. Don't go out and walk around at will at night. Soon, when the sunset came to the west, all the shops in today's Anping district were closed long ago. The streets were extremely deserted, and there were no pedestrians in the Binhe Road area except for police cars. Everyone in Anping district knew that there were murderers nearby. No one dared to be careless and kept behind closed doors. Brother! Why didn't we find a ghost for a whole day today? Xiao Shan frowned when he returned to the vicinity of the incident again. Yet, this ghost seems to be hiding, but where is he hiding? Obese Dashan glanced at the surrounding streets, wondering. The two brothers have not been free from 8 o'clock this morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I ate a portion of shaxian in a hurry, and continued to search for suspicious locations. Construction sites, garbage dumps, sewers, underground parking lots and other sparsely populated places have all been explored one by one, but unfortunately, there is no result. Fuck, when has the IQ of this evil spirit been so high? Do we have to wait for the evil spirit to come out to make trouble before we do it? Anxiously, Dashan took out a pack of yellow crane tower and handed it to Xiao Shan. Dashan is an evil spirit exorcist. When he made a wish at the river temple, he hoped that if there are real gods in the world, he can drive away evil spirits in the world. Dashan is the hardest one when destroying ghosts and monsters. This situation is rare now, and it can be said that this is the first time I have seen it. In the past, ghosts, as long as they probed, could basically find some ghosts or clues. But today there was no result, which made Dashan extremely impatient. Brother, did you say that the evil spirit has already moved? Xiaoshan's eyes rolled, or he has escaped from Anping district overnight. Hearing Xiaoshan's words, Dashan shook his head. No, look at the deceased, the evil spirit is obviously a torture fan, how could he escape so quickly? Dashan said his own opinion. At this time, a police car passed by on Binhe Road was clearly instructed by the superior department to let them ensure the safety of nearby residents. More importantly, it is to cooperate with the exorcist to investigate the movement of evil spirits. But where do ordinary police officers know this information? They only know that if they encounter a murderer, the two brothers will deal with it as soon as possible. Although I don't know why the superiors made such arrangements, the average police officer would not dare to think about it. They only think that they are the bigwigs of a certain department. In Daxia country, in addition to the police station that guards public security on a daily basis, there are also many special operations departments. These departments are relatively mysterious, but their status is more than several times higher than that of ordinary police officers. Hiss! Dashan finished his last puff of cigarette, trampled the cigarette out, and looked at the scene of the crime. Go! Let's go and see again. Dashan always felt that something was wrong, and intuitively told him that the ghost must have been hidden somewhere. After the murder, he must hide and digest and wait for the next action. The hill also stepped on the cigarette butts and followed in the footsteps of the mountain. The two came to the green belt and observed again. Not far from the green belt, there are villas. The sky is gradually getting darker. At this time, the villas are brightly lit. Suddenly, the hill looked at one of the villas. When driving by in the morning, he glanced at him intentionally or unintentionally. The husky in the yard was lying on his stomach, basking in the sun, but the dog didn't seem to have changed its posture this night. Thinking about it again, Xiao Shan immediately said in shock, "Brother, is there a problem with the dog in the yard?" Dashan was taken aback when he heard the words, and followed Xiaoshan's gaze. Although the distance is 500 meters, as exorcists, the five senses of the two are far beyond ordinary people. Soon, Dashan also discovered the abnormality. The husky seemed to be fine, but after a closer look, it didn't even breathe. Fuck! Go! Dashan rushed out in a stride, and the hill followed closely behind. Don't look at Dashan, who is usually fat and awkward in action, but his true face is a flexible fat man. After running a few steps, Xiao Shan took out an intercom. All units pay attention, immediately block the Sunshine Garden on Binhe Road, and evacuate the crowd. Attention to all units. After repeating it 3 times in a row, the hill and the big hill had already jumped into the wall of the villa one by one. Oh oh oh! Oh oh oh! After Xiaoshan's order was issued, the police cars on Binhe Road all started to move towards Sunshine Garden. Just after the two entered the yard, the husky kept lying on its stomach, and the hill kicked it, and the dog instantly turned into countless pieces. And there was a single hair in it, and the dog had been mutilated, and then sewn it with the hair. This ghost. Seeing the wire-like hair, Dashan Xiao Shan immediately looked inside the house. I saw a family of 4 in the house watching TV on the sofa, but they were indifferent to the movement outside the yard. Damn! We're late! Dashan said furiously when he saw this situation. Bang! The anti-theft door was blown away by the big mountain. In front of the pre-level ghost exorcist, this kind of anti-theft door was useless. The anti-theft door was blown away, and a disgusting sour smell came out. Dashan Xiao Shan immediately looked at the sofa. The 4 people sitting on the sofa stood up mechanically at this moment, and their heads had no facial features or hair, only a head. They are all ghost soldiers. Dashan gritted his teeth. Ghost soldiers are a means by which evil spirits use their yin air to control the dead after they kill mortals. One of the characteristics of ghost soldiers is that they have no thoughts, are not afraid of death, and only follow the instructions of evil spirits. Shan, I'll take care of these ghost soldiers, go find him out of that evil ghost. Dashan rushed out as he spoke. Strong ghost. I saw Dashan's arm instantly covered with blood-colored lines, which are similar to corpse spots, but they are more beautiful than corpse spots. The ghost in Dashan is a powerful ghost, and while awakening the powerful ghost, he will gain the power of a ghost. At this time, the power speed of Dashan increased exponentially. The 4 ghost soldiers in the living room immediately rushed towards the mountain, and the fist of the mountain smashed one ghost soldier into the air with one blow like a cannonball. Bang! After the ghost soldier smashed into the air, the tiles on the wall shattered every inch. Bang bang bang! Immediately afterwards, the other 3 ghost soldiers fought with Dashan. Devil! Haven't appeared yet, do you want me to pick you out myself? Xiao Xiao said loudly, and his voice echoed everywhere in the house. But the villa was empty, except for the sound of Dashan fighting with the ghost soldiers. There was no response at all. You forced me. Master, let me see where you are. Tianmu ghost. Koyama's eyes were instantly covered with bloodshot eyes, and his eyes were as strange as bloodshot. This is the ability attached to the ghost of the hill, and the vision and agility will be increased several times. Swish! Suddenly, a pile of slimy black hair poured out of the sewer in the villa kitchen. The hill kicked, as if it had hit a steel bar, and his feet were slightly numb. The next moment, Xiaoshan's shoes and pants were all pierced by steel-like hair. Under the pain, Xiao Shan quickly retracted his foot. Although the physical strength of the exorcist was far superior to that of a mortal, the blow still cut countless wounds on the hill's legs and soles. Bastard! Stop it! Dashan roared, and a thick black aura emerged from the shoulder blades, and these black auras instantly formed 2 brand new arms. At this moment, Dashan transformed into a 4-armed form, bounced with a roar and rushed towards the swallowing evil spirit. Bang! 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 In an instant, dozens of fist shadows bombarded the head-swallowing ghost. As if smashing a steel plate, there were countless golden and iron clashes. However, Dashan's fist was slightly numb, and the thick squeeze was also touched on Dashan's fist while the battle was being fought. "Xiao Shan, you can't let him leave. Even if we die today, we have to hold him," Dashan said to Xiao Shan as he continued to bombard the devourer. At this time, the fierce light in Dashan's eyes became more and more vigorous, like a hungry wolf who is not afraid of death. Xiao Shan nodded, his eyes were blood red, the scars on his legs and feet seemed to be painless, and he continued to rush towards the swallowing ghost. "Demon exorcist, use the body as a furnace to raise evil spirits." In the battle, the more he fought, the more bravery he was, and he was full of hostility like a ghost. While gaining the power of evil spirits, it will also greatly increase physical strength. But there is a flaw, that is, if you use the ghost power to reach the critical point, you have to restore your blood. Otherwise, sooner or later, it will become a walking corpse that is neither human nor ghost. The mountains and hills attacked the head-swallowing ghost one after the other, but the two attacks caused almost zero threat to the head-swallowing ghost. The mucus from the head-swallowing devil's hair adhered to Dashan's body, producing undetectable corpses. These plagues are similar to toxins. If they are not stopped, Dashan will end up either in battle or become a real corpse. "All citizens, don't panic, please retreat in an orderly manner." Repeated again, "All citizens." At this moment, the two heard the sound of horns coming from outside the door, as well as countless panic footsteps. They knew that it was the police officers outside the door who were evacuating people. Countless red and blue lights filled the road. The two brothers, Das Hanshinchen, sinking in their hearts, they are really going to fight to the death, they can't retreat. Although the head-swallowing ghost is powerful, it has no consciousness, only the instinct of devouring and killing. A complete ghost is born with a shrewd consciousness and develops wretchedly. This swallowing evil spirit was very powerful when it was born, but being ignorant is a key point. Although his combat effectiveness is very strong, his combat technique is relatively simple, that is, his hair. It is this relatively single means of combat that has pushed the two brothers Dashanshan to despair. "Roar! Die to me!" Dashan didn't notice the corpse spots on his arms at all, waving his forearms airtight, and continuing to smash at the head-swallowing evil spirit. Koyama's trousers on his legs had become strips at this time, and countless scratches appeared on his legs. The head-swallowing ghost seemed to enjoy the feeling of slowly torturing the prey, waving his hair and easily dealt with the two brothers Dash and Xiao Shan. "Brother! There are more corpse spots on your arms." Xiao Shan noticed that most of Dashan's two ghostly arms turned grey, and exclaimed. The smelly slime on the head of the head-swallowing ghost is not swill, but corpse oil. Although Dashan's two new arms were formed by ghosts, if they were all corpses, then Dashan would suffer irreversible damage. "Brother! What about this?" Dashan glared wide and didn't care. "We can't retreat. There are still citizens outside. After a while, the citizens will retreat and I will cover your retreat." The corner of Xiaoshan's eyes was sour, and he looked at the bloodstains on his body, every time Dashan used to shelter him from wind and rain. But this time, can they go? Neither he nor Dashan are mediocre exorcists, they are more talented exorcists in the new era. In Luoshui city, they are called the geniuses of the younger generation. Otherwise, they won't get a 1-star platinum medal in their early 20s, and two of them can act alone. Facing the head-swallowing evil spirits at the peak of the earth level, if they want to escape, they can completely escape. But they escaped, and tonight I don't know how many people will become food for swallowing evil spirits. But can they escape? Can you escape? According to the current situation, can they persist until the citizens are evacuated? They had been injured to this extent just 1 minute from the start of the battle. The corner of Xiaoshan's mouth is bitter. Maybe, tonight is the end of their brothers. Luoshui City Ghost Killing Headquarters. Wu Yangda stared at the screen fiercely, and asked the contact group leader again, how long will it take? How long will the reinforcements arrive? This sentence, Wu Yangda almost roared out. Master! Director, according to the latest coordinates, the reinforcements still have half an hour to arrive. The leader of the liaison group refreshed the satellite image over and over again, and the beads of sweat on his forehead kept falling. Wu Yang declared with anger, half an hour. Are they all eating shit? In half an hour, their brothers died too much. Oh my god! The fists of the angry Wu Yangda hammered the table severely, looking at the big mountains and small hills in the picture like a knife. In just 1 minute of fighting, the two were already wounded. Dashan's 2 arms were already half covered with corpse spots, and Xiaoshan's legs were immediately approaching a state of flesh. Is this only a minute? The state of the two has been extremely bad. In another half an hour, 100 mountains and hills will not be enough to die. The hair of the swallowing evil spirit was like steel bars, and the two of them couldn't break the defense at all. If you want to kill the devouring devil, you must smash his face. That human face is the most fragile place, but the most devilish head-swallowing ghost is the hair, and the two of them can't do it close together. How can they crush the face? Brother! It's only a minute now, and we have to delay at least 4 more minutes to leave. Xiao Shan once again kicked and flicked his legs at the head-swallowing ghost, looking at Dashan and said. Dashan didn't respond, he slammed forearms to resist most of the front hair. At this time, most of the arms formed by Dashan's 2 ghost chi had been corpses. His 2 ghostly arms are called diamond arms. This kind of arm is not afraid of hot weapons, but most afraid of the influence of evil spirits. If his Vajra arm is completely corpsized, then his lifespan will soon be over. Excessive use of the ghost abilities raised by oneself will also be eaten back by ghosts and become real ghosts. Therefore, the situation of Das Hanshinshan is very dangerous at this time, and it is almost dead. Suddenly a voice came from the headphones of the two of them, Dash Anshan, don't hold on to it, you will leave immediately in 2 minutes. At that time, no matter what, you must evacuate. I will arrange for someone to come up and help you escape from here. Xiao Shan was stunned when he heard this voice. Dashan immediately roared without any hesitation, Director Wu Yang, I refuse. Both of their brothers understood that after sending out the distress signal, the headquarters said that the nearest exorcist was still far away. Luoshui city is so huge that it will take 40 minutes to arrive at the fastest speed. Now that people are on top, is it the little policeman outside? Those police's small caliber thermal weapons not only caused no harm to the swallowing evil spirits, but also killed them all. If you want to sacrifice those mortals to make yourself alive, Dashan is 10,000 unwilling. Wu Yangda's voice immediately rose a little higher, Dashan Xiao Shan, this is an order. I don't want to sacrifice the lives of civilians, but your lives are more precious. You are the future of the country. Wu Yangda's voice trembled almost at the end. As the director of the Ghost Eradication Department, he is also a mortal, so Wu Yangda understands the importance of a young genius exorcist. Or the importance of mountains and hills. Dashan and Xiao Shan are both leaders and geniuses of the young generation in Luoshui city. Especially Dashan, his growth rate can be said to be the first person in the young generation. Only in his early 20s, 2 of them won the 1-star platinum medal and reached the level of the prefecture-level ghost exorcist. At this time, sacrificing some people can save their lives. That is for the sake of the overall situation. As long as the 2 brothers Dashan and Xiao Shan survive, they are definitely expected to receive the 3-star platinum medal in the future, or even reach a higher level. What does the prefecture-level pinnacle represent? That is the existence that can save tens of thousands of lives. The Earth-level peak ghost exorcist who can obtain the 3-star platinum medal is already a first-class existence. If these 2 brothers die now, the 2 first-rate exorcists will be lost in the future. Listening to Wu Yangda's words, Dashan smiled slightly, Director Wu Yang, I am honored to die. After that, De Shan continued to rush towards the Tunta ghost. Xiao Shan looked at the injury on his body, then looked at the platinum medal on his chest. A wry smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The two of them logically can only have the gold medal, but the talent is excellent, and an exception was awarded to the 1-star platinum medal. Brother! You are the best of the young generation. You can't die. Let me protect you this time. Xiao Shan secretly said in his heart. The words of Wu Yangda just now gave Xiao Shan the determination to die. Dashan still has unrequited grievances, and he is the first person of the young generation in Luoshui city. He must not die. Tianmu ghost. Burning blood. At this moment, the blood flow in the whole body of Xiao Shan turned into a rapid speed, and the naked eye can see the exposed blood vessels on the surface of the body. At the same time, Koyama's eyes turned dark red, and his pupils became looming. Xiao Shan desperately, the blood in his body rushed to the Sky Eye Ghost desperately, and at the same time his strength and speed began to grow like a rocket. Bang! 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 The head-swallowing ghost who was dealing with Dashan's fist suddenly felt a strong force coming from behind. Get away from me! Xiao Shan roared, grasping Tuntagui's two thick hairs with both hands and flicking towards the distance. Boom! Boom! Suddenly the head-swallowing ghost was thrown out like a sandbag, and directly smashed through the wall of the living room, and rammed into the bedroom. After hitting the bedroom wall again, the power was relieved. The head-swallowing ghost slowly slipped off the wall like plasticine. The blow just now caused him a lot of damage. Let's die together! Ghosts! The hill rushed into the bedroom instantly like a cheetah, and grabbed the head-swallowing ghost. The head-swallowing ghost suddenly became the size of a basketball, with countless hairs sticking out like spikes. He has a sense of self-instinct, and he has just been thrown into a haze, so he turns into a spike to defend. At the same time, it can perfectly protect his face. Die to me! Xiao Shan wrapped the sting ball tightly and hugged it on his chest. At the same time, the blood in his body overflowed along the wound and turned into bursts of blood mist. The blood mist, like a silkworm chrysalis, slowly wrapped around the spike ball that the headless ghost turned into. Burning blood, blood pupa? No. Dashan saw this scene, his eyes became extremely red, tears flooding. What happened in an instant happened too fast. Dashan saw the head-swallowing ghost was suddenly thrown off the hill and rushed out. When it was discovered, there was an endless blood mist from the body of the hill. Burning vitality and blood, pupating with blood, this is a suicide attack, and it is also the trump card for Xiao Shan to fight for his life. Take care of our grandfather, you still have your parents' revenge unrequited. Xiao Shan said while vomiting blood. At this moment, he felt dizzy, a large amount of blood burned and externally released, and he was close to the state of anemia. This is to sacrifice him and the heavenly eye ghost in his body to pupa and seal the head-swallowing evil spirit. In order to protect itself, the Tianmu ghost can only continuously swallow the power of qi and blood, but the more he swallows, the qi and blood of the Tianmu ghost and the small mountain are also acting madly on the head-swallowing ghost. No! 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 Dashan slapped the ground feebly, heartache to the extreme. Seeing his brother save him with his life, Dashan felt endless pain. Brother, you are better than me, don't you want to become a heavenly rank? In the future, you have to kill enough ghosts to benefit mankind. Xiao Shan was very difficult to speak at this time, and when he finished speaking, he vomited blood again. No! Dashan was like a peak at this time, with 4 arms lying on the ground and crazily crawling into the bedroom. However, the only sight to behold is the blood-colored hills all over, and the head-swallowing evil spirits struggling constantly in qi and blood. Dashan wanted to save his younger brother, but he knew that if he saved him at this moment, not only would he not be able to live, but he would also waste his efforts. The hill that burns blood can no longer survive. Zi! The spike ball covered with blood pupa made a sharp ghost cry at this time. He was going to defend, but he didn't expect a net outside to wrap him up. This sound was 100 times more ear-piercing than a nail rubbing a blackboard, and it spread from the villa to the entire street. This voice in the dark night caused countless citizens to cover their ears. The policemen and citizens outside commanding the retreat heard this harsh sound, and the crowd suddenly became more turbulent. On the shore of Luoshui, in the river temple. After hearing this harsh sound, the river statue appeared golden light on its body. A golden light flashed, and Li San appeared in the Hessian temple, looking in the direction of Binhe Road. The eye of Shakyamuni. A bright blue light flashed in his eyes, and Li San saw a ghostly air rising into the sky in the distance.